All right, so there's the first one. No, that's the live stream button.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What an introduction.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know,
man.
right? I did everything like I always do.
Yeah,
That
but
was my fault.
you have to include him in the plans as well. You know.
No. Keep me in the dark. That's the best way to do it. All right,
Heck yeah.
everyone. Welcome to One Man's Opinion on Sports, live edition with the two Dum Yinzers, Mike and Ryan. We are live for an hour every Sunday morning, roughly 11 o'clock, maybe 11:10, 11:15, depends on how we get going. But we'll be on live for an hour here talking about the Steelers matchup this week versus the Denver Broncos at Denver at 4:25. Do we want to go over the injury report first? That's like the most important thing. Who's playing, who's not playing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's go right over it.
Okay, so Russell Wilson. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he is the quarterback for the Steelers, supposedly. Hasn't played yet and not going to play today, right, Mike?
Correct. It's looking like Fields this week and possibly next week as well with that calf injury to Field or to Wilson.
Yeah, he heard it in training camp, and then I guess he retweaked it at some point about, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was like like the week leading up to the Atlanta game, magically, mysteriously, out of thin air, it tweaked. He was fine for, the last two preseason games and then tweaked it right before the game. To me, it sounds a little fishy. Like there's something going on there. It's a little conspiracy in my mind, but it's just weird that, he's this nagging injury right as soon as the regular season starts.
He's a nag. Listen, Brian. What he's caused right now to this point, he's caused himself to be the backup quarterback. Justin Fields won the battle. They already have him penciled in for the next two games. I mean, come on, you're already a quarter of the way through the season at that point. This other guy, he tweaked he had a tight calf to start preseason, and then it got better, and then he got a tight calf to start the regular season. This Justin Fields is a starter because here's the thing. If he goes 3-0, let's say he wins today, comes home and wins against the Chargers, and Russell Wilson's going to wonder if he's going to be starting game 4. If we're 3-0, there's no way in hell that you could change this around. I think Justin Fields earned the starting position.
Well, I woke up the other day and my right calf was a little tight, so I was going to call off today and have you guys just do the show without me. But, I'm toughing it out here, Russell.
Yeah. I agree. What's the deal with this guy? I don't hate him, and I don't have any issues with him. But again, he certainly isn't making himself available. Mike, what do you always say about what's the most important thing in sports?
Availability. That's the best availability, and he doesn't have it right now.
Now, the guy hasn't been available
right now.
But like 2 series in the preseason. Come on, put this guy on the bench.
Now, I asked you this on Wednesday, Ryan. Does Russell Wilson dress in full pads and uniform, even though he's not going to be available again?
I think Russell Wilson dresses in full pads and uniforms if he's the 4th-string quarterback. That's just this guy. I think he's going to be out there. He's going to be standing directly behind Mike Tomlin, doing all the things that Mike Tomlin's doing. You know what? I'm learning a lot about Russell Wilson. Again, I don't hate the guy. I respect him. I respect his career, but he's kind of getting on my nerves.
But he was the 3rd-string quarterback. He just wasn't active. But if the other two went down, he would have to go in. So he would have his helmet on. It made sense for him to be dressed. He had to be dressed and ready.
I can see him as the 3rd-string guy walking up and down the sidelines with his helmet on. This is what I see.
Hey, that's what I want from my 3rd-stringer. I want them ready to go and hyping the boys up.
He's like all sweating and everything, knowing he's not going to play.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
taking that weird dive at the ground to get the grass stains on his knees, like I used to do in football. To make it look like you're active.
So, are we one play, one hit, one bad twist of a something to having Kyle Allen as our quarterback out there today?
Yeah, Fields has missed time like every season of his career. Like a little injury here and there. So yeah, we are one hit away from the Kyle Allen experience. And maybe this week we don't see a whole lot of quarterback designed runs from Justin Fields.
Well, Kyle Allen has to be better than Duck Hodges. And I know for a fact, and I've never seen Kyle Allen play in the pros, but I know for a fact that he's better than Mitch Trubisky. I just know it.
like those aren't like high hurdles to clear. I know it's verboten in the area to speak bad about Duck Hodges, who was lucky, he had some great talent around him to carry him to those victories. But yeah, I think Kyle Allen would be an upgrade over those two gentlemen as well.
But before we get into the rest of the injuries, because I want to stick with this quarterback situation, is this a blessing in disguise? Is Justin Fields really the right man for the job?
It's a blessing in disguise that we get to see what he has, to see if there is any potential there. Who is he, who we thought he was with the Bears? Is he this guy that's going to be wildly inconsistent and then wow you for a few plays? Or is there something there? And the Bears do what the Bears always do, which is strip young talent, of their ability to play football and just to, stunt their growth. So it's a win-win for the Steelers. You find out if this guy who's worth anything that you spent a conditional draft pick on. And hey, if it works out, that's great. You're going to win some games. If it doesn't work out, guess what? You're going to get a better draft pick to hopefully fix this quarterback issue.
Brian, I just did want to cut you guys off. A couple notes on the board coming in. We got Steeler Freak. John says Wilson is running for Pittsburgh mayor next. He's done with football. And then also we have a good morning introduction from Derpy, who is on the board as well. Good morning, Derpy. He says, here we go.
Hey, Mike, can you do me a favor? Yeah. Can you post a link to my YouTube page on there? So now you can actually find it this week. It's amazing. You post a couple of videos. I just posted a video at 10 a.m., everybody. So after this show, make sure you go on there and check it out. It's about analytics, Moneyball, how it affected baseball, basketball, football. So check that out. And if Mike could post that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Really good. I did check it out as soon as it came out this morning. That's really good, Brian. I'm really
Did you like that snowy run play, Ryan? I thought I added that in there for you specifically.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. As I said, you're doing great work, man. I've seen the first couple of videos and I'm a big fan. So get on, subscribe, like all those fun things, everybody.
Yeah, I was even able to sneak Paul Skeens in there for a hot minute.
Yeah, and Jen Aniston. So
yes. Well, we don't want to give it all away.
Ryan's just giving away the whole video.
I'm excited.
Ryan's like, but at the end, here's what happened.
And in the middle, we did this. And in the first part was this.
He wasn't really the killer.
Now, Mike, I don't know if you have any insider information or anybody on the board, but Roman Wilson is questionable. Mm-hmm. He had limited practice on Wednesday. He fully practiced on Thursday, but then on Friday, he was limited again. Do you have any updates on that?
That's the info that I saw, and same thing, like a bunch of the reporters that I follow said the same thing. I'm leaning towards we're not going to see him this week, just because he went from that full practice and then limited on Friday. So that means something had to flare up in there.
Right, it's not good when you go backwards.
Yeah, it's a high ankle sprain, and you don't want to mess with those. Those take a whole hell of a lot longer to heal than just a regular sprain that you would be able to play through. And we saw this end Kendrell Bell's career, a high ankle sprain. So I'm okay with taking time with Roman Wilson coming back, but I anticipate not seeing him at all.
I predict that he plays today to some degree. I think that the Steelers are kind of sort of in panic mode because again, your number 2 receiver catches one ball for 1 yard. As you're game planning, looking at these numbers, you start to say to yourself, what can we do to change this? How can we I think we see Roman Wilson today. Just my opinion.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to see Mike anymore. He just disappeared. Oh, there he is. I would say that Van Jefferson would have had more yards and a touchdown if Roman Wilson was playing last week.
Yes.
Those 2 blocks on the outside were the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my life. They should be doing laps all week, both Pickens and what's his name? Austin Powers the third or whatever.
Do they still make you run laps when you're pro, or are you too wealthy at that point?
I guarantee those people have never ran any laps. They were always, just the coaches kissed their butt because they knew they were going to the pros.
Right.
Yeah, and George Pickens, in college was known as a great blocker. And then he gets to the pros and he can't throw a block to save his life. I don't get it, unless he's called out like the week before, like we saw last year, then he follows it up with a good block. I don't get it. He has the ability to be a good blocker. And yeah.
It was literally the worst block I've ever seen of all time. And the second worst block of all time happened exactly at the same time. It was like synchronized swimming, except they were not blocking. Like give them those little things on their nose and the little caps and just get smeared.
Yeah, like Calvin Austin's 4'0" and he put more effort into his block than George did. And Calvin's best effort was just a feeble attempt. It was comical. But yeah, I think with Roman Wilson in there, oh yeah, there would have been an opening.
So Ryan seems to think he's going to play. I don't know if I'm that optimistic. I think they might be cautious with him just because it is Denver. If we were playing Baltimore or somebody, I think he might be in there. But
I say because we're playing Denver, he plays. Again, it's not an over physical. It's not this rivalry. It's not. I think he plays to some degree today. How much it is, I'm not sure, but I do think we will see Roman Wilson on the field. And also, Derpy says he thought today was a pirate show, so he's disappointed.
Miscommunication.
The who?
Derpy thought today was
never heard of them. Derp.
Yeah. I was saying like who's Derpy.
And also on the board, John says, I wonder if Tomlin had Skeens throw some footballs just in case for next year, because you did see them together on social media yesterday or the day before. But you know what? I've seen Paul Skeens warm up pregame in baseball over at the Pirate Stadium.
He does that thing like
yes. What is that thing?
Whatever it is, I need to start doing it. Then I can run 2 miles an hour and get the gymnast.
I'd give Skeens a shot.
Over Cal Allen?
Yeah. I mean, probably. Why not, right?
All right. Moving down the injury report here. Isaac Seumalo, the left guard, is going to be out with a pectoral. I would assume he's going to be out for the next couple games as well. We have Dan Moore Jr., who did not practice on Wednesday, but did full practice on Thursday, Friday. So I would assume he's going to start at left tackle again. I don't see Fotano on the injury report. So is he going to be that like sixth lineman if something happens to somebody?
I heard he's starting.
Yeah, I heard he's starting too.
Where?
Right tackle.
Well, who's starting at left tackle?
Dan Moore.
Well, what about the guy we traded up for last year?
He's still a work in progress.
You don't know what side he's working on.
He's still a work in progress.
Really?
They love Fotanu so much. That's why they penciled him in right away as the starter. They think the world of Fotanu. They knew that Broderick Jones was going to be a work in progress, and it's probably taken a little bit longer than they thought it would. They thought by this point he would.
Is he still injured, Mike?
He might be.
Yeah, that might be it. If he's not starting, I would assume something's wrong with that, and he can't. He can't use his arms like he wants to.
He can't get his arms up high enough in pass blocking anyway. And we saw him like in preseason doing that 2-hand punch. Like when these guys are taught, you punch with whatever hand's closest, and you have your other one ready to go. He had no strength in it. Wouldn't surprise me if that elbow is still giving him a problem. And this is their way of saying, get healthy. We'll start this guy. But he needs to beat out Dan Moore. Like, I'm not the biggest Dan Moore fan in the world, but I'm also not the biggest hater in the world. And you can recognize that he holds his own for the most part. Is he an elite left tackle? No. Is he starter capable? Yeah. But you would hope that our rookie from 2 years ago would have beat this guy out and has.
Let me put it to you this way, Brian. Have you ever bitten your nails down so far on your fingers it hurt? You bitten your nails, or and then it hurts.
That has happened, yes.
Yes. So, and you go to work even after a day or two, and it still bothers you. It's like, you got to pick something up and it's sensitive. For these guys to go out there and deal with this, to play the sport of football, do they ever really become totally injury free? You have an injury that keeps you out a month, couple weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. You come back, are you really injury free? Or are you saying to yourself, you know what, at some point I just have to man up, go earn my money and put this behind me? And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of these guys, Brian. When we get Fotanu back, when we get some of these other injured players back, that's going to be the case. They're still going to be injured ultimately, and they're still going to have issues with whatever it is the injury is. I just think that's the nature of sports. But that's football though. There's no teams stay healthy. It's the game.
Yeah, I know it's basketball, but I know my entire senior year I played with 2 sprained ankles and a broken finger the whole year. Like you just did it, not just basketball.
I miss being a man. I mean, come on, that was the good old days, right?
On the bench?
Well, I mean, with my finger now, if I pick up something after I bit my fingers,
you handed out the cups for people to drink.
Damn right. Leave me alone.
Valuable member of the team.
Back to the injury report. Let's go through the rest of this.
I ran out and grabbed that tee from midfield as quick as anybody. That's all I got to tell you.
We have Darius Rush, who had a concussion. He had full practice on Friday. Ogunjobi, full practice on Thursday and Friday. Patrick Queen and Cam Hayward did not practice on Thursday, but both full practice on Friday. Is there any issues with either of them, or is that just like, they kind of had the day off just to kind of recoup?
I think Cam had the day off. I know Patrick Queen showed up with like a groin injury, like uncomfort in his groin. So maybe Deshaun Watson could come down and help him out, get that taken care of. But yeah, I think Queen will play. No, he needs to
Yeah,
play
and
better.
Hayward was
But
just a rest day, like kind of
I
like
think
Ben
so.
didn't practice.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I got to tell you
Old-timer
guys,
day.
I'm somewhat concerned about Patrick Queen because now this is the guy that I'm going to be patient with his injury. I'm getting kind of anxious. I'm getting kind of yancy, and I want to see Roman Wilson in there. But Patrick Queen, now, if he goes in with this injury and it gets worse, then you got yourself a little bit of a situation with your starting inside linebacker. Him, I would be more precautious with. Even if he does play, I would certainly keep it at a minimum. Guys, this should be a game that we should be able to go to Mile High and win this football game. Again, I mean, nothing's a given. We've seen how the NFL plays out. But guys, I wouldn't risk Patrick Queen, especially not this early.
Now, Ryan, you watched the game a few times, like I did.
Yeah.
Did you see Patrick Queen out there almost on every defensive play, talking to Peyton Wilson after the play?
Yeah,
it's like he's coaching him out there too.
It's great. It's great because you know how Nick Herbig works side by side with TJ Watt a lot, and he helps him. You're seeing that same thing with Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen, and you could definitely tell that it's going to be beneficial because the guy's a beast anyway.
I heard Herbig said to TJ Watt, "What if I do this inside move?" And Watt said, "No, you're not allowed to do inside moves, only outside moves." But that Herbig, he is something else. He's gonna be good. One of my questions for you guys was going to be on Alex Highsmith. What's going on? I mean, he had that one nice deflection late in the game last week. Is he going to step it up this week? Because I only saw him on a couple plays.
Yeah, he needs to step it up big time. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're making 14 to 17 mil a year on that contract. You're paid to go out there and make impactful plays, not just the routine plays. You have to make those impactful plays, and he really hasn't.
He's solid.
Yeah, it's early.
Listen,
but he's a good player.
Solid.
I like him, but
and that's why they're paying him good money. They're not paying him to be the TJ Watt. They're not paying him to be the superstar. They're paying him money to be solid. I don't agree with the amount of money. I think that he's a little overpaid for what his production is. However, he is a solid player at that position on the other side of the line. You can't get the TJ Watt. You can't get Patrick Queens out of everybody. So we have to understand that that's what we're getting. You can't. I don't expect Highsmith will put up 16 sacks. People are telling me if he puts up 16 sacks this year, something. I don't see it happen. I don't think he's that guy. But again, he is a solid player on the other side of the defensive line there, and I appreciate that. But again, I don't think he's everything he's built up to be because of especially because of the money he's being paid.
Yeah, he should, for what he's getting paid, should at minimum every year clock in around 13 sacks a year and consistently have that type of production. But he doesn't. Now, don't get me wrong. I like what he does in pass coverage. I think he's very underrated in that part of his game. He understands his own concepts of defense very well. But we're paying you a lot of money. You better have a lot of disruptive plays, in the backfield.
Yeah, and at least 12 sacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Brian, you have to, especially going up against TJ Watt on the other side. You better have that high level of production.
Brian,
I think the side that Highsmith plays on, though, he's playing against the best offensive lineman every week.
Yeah,
while Watt might get chipped by tight ends and other people, I still think Highsmith, he has that one-on-one versus the left tackle, and that's usually the best player on the other team.
Yeah, that should be your best pass protector. But you're being paid a whole lot of money to make those plays. So you have to make those plays. The excuses go out the window at that point. You gotta go out there and produce.
John makes a couple good points on the board. He says, yet no Jones on the injury report. That is telling. ... Perhaps he got benched. Also, John says that Peyton Wilson had 24 snaps today. He says, I expect more from him. And also, Ralph Williams says, good morning. Hello, guys.
Hello.
What up?
Well, let's switch things up here, guys. We've been talking about the Steelers. They are playing somebody. Bo Nix. What? He's going to run the ball. He's a dual threat guy. Is he going to throw the ball downfield, or is he going to dink and dunk and try to play it safe today and try to get the ball out quick with Highsmith and Watt and Herbig and everybody else coming at him?
I can see him taking some shots just to see if they can catch us lacking, because we're going to be looking to clog that middle of the field. stop their run game, force them into the pass situation. So I can see us presenting them the defense, daring them to throw deep, and I can see them doing it. But with the way the secondary's been playing, I'm okay with it. Let this guy throw the ball around, let him make mistakes, and let the ball hawks that we have back there take advantage. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Sean Payton starts trying to take shots down the field.
I think I said on the show the other day what Mike Tomlin was previously 24-6 against rookies. Last year he was 0-2 against rookie quarterbacks. I expect to see that to change today. Again, yeah. I see that this defense, from what I seen last week, again, we have one game to go off of. I can see this defense handling Bo Nix in the Broncos offense. I just don't know if they have enough pieces in place to really put out a high, impact on offense. I mean, again, what I seen last week, it wasn't impressive. I think that we handle Bo Nix today.
Bo Nix last week threw the ball 42 times. Do you guys remember when Ben was a rookie? If he threw like 20, it was like scary.
The sky was falling, and he was so much more accurate than Bo Nix.
42 pass attempts, and he had a lousy 138 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's suboptimal. That's not how you want to run your offense. My God. I don't know.
He had 2 picks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
No. I was going to say, if I was them, I would just be leaning on my running backs. I'd just a healthy dose of run.
Well, that's next that I wanted to talk about. They have 2 running backs, McLaughlin and Williams, and both of them, they're not very good.
No. But they have the rookie from Michigan, right? Or Notre Dame.
I think, guys, they had to just run the ball. Slap Cortland Sutton in the plane. I've said this, bring him home. Denver doesn't deserve him. This team stinks. You've seen what they were last year. I can't imagine they're any better this year under a rookie. At least Russell Wilson knew what he, come on, he's been in the league for how long? Guys, if Pittsburgh doesn't win this game, and I don't want to say convincingly, but convincingly, it's not. I don't think we're going to kick a field goal at the end of the game. If they don't win
4 more,
maybe 4 more points. If they don't do that, I'll be very surprised. I think that today should be a good game for Pittsburgh fans. I think the day should be a good day for for the Steelers, and we could start hopefully after about 7:30 this evening, getting ready to come home and take on the Chargers in the home opener next week.
I have a matchup. I wanted to know if you guys thought this one out at all, but George Pickens versus Patrick Surtain. Do you think that that's going to be all day?
Oh, that's all day.
I think it's going to certainly limit what it is that we can do, and it's going to test what the Steelers can do. Because again, George Pickens was all day last week. You could basically just toss the ball up there, and he was going to get to it. This is a very, very intriguing matchup. Maybe the most intriguing matchup of the day for me is Patrick Surtain on George Pickens.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. Surtain might be the best corner in the league.
And this forces us to use other targets. You know what I mean? It's going to make us go to the tight end more. It's going to make us go to Van Jefferson a little bit more and so on. So I think that's what you're going to see today.
Yeah, it's going to change last week, they had to double team George Pickens. AJ Terrell's not bad himself, but they still were putting a linebacker over there, shadow underneath, the safety over the top. Today, it might just be those two going one-on-one, no help. So that's going to, who we're going to go to, because now you have an extra guy out there to pass, for pass defense. And we really didn't go middle of the field. So it's going to be interesting to see if we actually attack the middle of the field today.
Will Mike Tomlin make some changes and maybe move Pickens around to try to get him away from Surtain?
Hopefully.
I assume, I'm going to anticipate it, but Denver beat reporters were saying that wherever George goes, Surtain's going to follow him. And Surtain was saying that media, he's like, I'm just going to go wherever he lines up. So no matter where he goes, look for Surtain just one-on-one. Unless you can, motion them out and see if they're in zone, and then that'd be your best chance.
And of course, Brian, this was George Pickens' response. I just hope they have their plan correct. I really don't know or care what they're trying to do. End quote. That was George Pickens on, the game plan set for covering him.
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I played basketball, my job every time was to just guard the other team's best player, full court, balled and out, never let them touch the ball, and to be honest with you, I don't even know what our defenses ever were. They could have been in a zone sometimes. They could have been in a man-to-man. I didn't worry about what they were doing. I was just going to take their best player out of the game. I would assume that that's what Surtain's going to try to do today, take Pickens away and see if your Van Jeffersons, your Pat Freiermuth, your Najee Harris's can beat you.
You figure also this, I mean, that has to be their game plan because, in sports, you want to win. And the way to beat the Steelers is to take George Pickens out. Everybody knows that at this point. There wasn't a person who wasn't watching the Brandon Ayuk saga play out. Guys, everybody knows this is what needs to be done. This is what will be done. So then the burden falls back on us. How do we counter react?
I'm looking for a steady dose of just, I would establish the run early and establish the run often. That way you can start hitting them with the play action that they like to do. We ran a decent amount of play action last week. If we can get the run game going, that's just going to make the play action more effective and, hit Freiermuth across the middle of the field. And then soften up the coverage to George.
With everybody kind of getting into game shape still, I know we had the 3 preseasons games and we had week 1. Is the air up in Denver going to be a factor at all? Just, conditioning. I know Watt's going to take his breaks, which is great because you have Herbig now. That's I think a starter that's not starting. So that's nice. But, will the defensive backs need some breaks? And talk a little bit about that, I guess.
I could see it happening because, like you said, Watt always has to suck air early in that first drive. Definitely in that first half. We see Cam come in and out a lot more often than usual. He's getting up there in age. I think Ogunjobi as well. He's not a young guy anymore, so they can be sucking air. And if they can, that offense gets those long drives. And yeah, I think you can see, a couple of the corners rotating in and out, a couple of your middle linebackers rotating in and out. You'd lose that speed with Patrick Queen and Wilson. Landon Robertson's great against the run, but not so much against the pass. So like that conditioning early on is going to be key. And we are wearing the black jerseys in the 80-degree heat. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be like when we would always play Jacksonville down in Jacksonville. It'd be early in the year wearing those dark colors, and it would be a hell of a game. And we would lose those games due to those conditions.
But it's not humid out there. It's a different type of 80
it's
degrees.
that dry heat, but the thin air up there, and how well conditioned are you going to be?
John says on the board, D linemen will rotate the most, which I agree with on defense. The age of the players, that is what you're going to see a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of Montrevious Adams. A lot of these guys cycling through. With the other positions, I'm not really worried. Especially, I don't know to what extent Terrell Edmonds is available this week, but now you have a surplus of safeties along with a surplus of linebackers. That really doesn't concern me. It's the line once they're rotating in and out. And Keanu Benton's key today, so I'm going to be watching him a lot as well.
Yeah,
keep him fresh.
Yeah. What do you guys expect from Minkah Fitzpatrick? Now, the last few years, he's had to do a lot. He's always seems to be leading the team in tackles, and that's just ridiculous. But with the new linebackers, you got Patrick Queen, you got Dante Johnson out there on the cornerback, you got Joey Porter Jr., Peyton Wilson. You got a lot of guys that can fly. It seems to me like, I guess, the pressure on Fitzpatrick to do everything has lessened this year, and I think he can go more into the safety role.
Yeah, I think he can go back to being that center fielder the way he was that first 2 years in Pittsburgh, where he'll be able to make those splash plays, be able to freelance like he's able to do, because he doesn't have to, like you said, do everything. Now we have 2 starting corners. We have multiple safeties back there that can, step up and make plays for him. And I took the team around the line the way he was last week. You saw the way he shot in there a couple of those run plays, be able to make the key stop. That's what I'm expecting out of Minkah. To him to be all over the place. And I don't know why I keep fading in and out of existence.
I was going to ask because the Chinese, they now have that invisible cloak. I don't know if you guys seen that, but that seems to be what's going on over here.
That's what I got going on over here. I don't know what's going on.
Have you seen that though? This cloak, it's amazing. You just wrap it around you and you're invisible.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I got to go on online as soon as I get off here and then check it out.
It's pretty amazing, actually. It's a kind of a new invention the Chinese invented. It wraps around you like saran wrap, and as you do, you're going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So are we expecting more out of like a Pat Freiermuth today, a Van Jefferson today, and the other nameless wide receivers that we have?
I'm expecting more out of Muth. I think the comments that Art Smith made last week about we purposely didn't go across the middle of the field because we don't want Jesse Bates to beat to beat us the way TJ Watt beat the Falcons. So I expect more out of Muth. I expect more out of the middle of the field. I think they're going to try and get Muth going, because you get him going, that's going to open up that receiver too. It's going to give them openings in coverage.
Ryan just shakes his head.
Ryan's like, yeah.
Well, I'm reading the board.
He's pulling a derpy.
As everybody knows, I'm not the brightest bulb in the drawer, so I'm reading the board, and I totally was not paying attention to what Mike said. So I didn't want to come and say the same thing, so I nodded and smiled.
No, there you go. Well, anything interesting on the boards?
Yeah, John also says the past few years Minkah had to focus on run tackling.
Yes,
the last line of defense, which is 100% true. But I guess the question was: is Minkah going to be? Is he going to be more? What was the question? He's going to be more involved.
He's going to play his position. He's going to doesn't have to focus on being everybody's backup.
But
he can play his position.
I think he's going to be able to play his position. I think you saw it a little bit more last week, and he was involved in different ways than you've seen him the past couple of years, I felt. And by adding this depth also to the safety position with Terrell Edmonds, does anybody know, is he playing today, guys? Because he was Batman's Robin for quite a few years when Minkah got here. So, having those two guys involved, I think is kind of big. So I think that also changes the wink.
Yeah, I haven't seen the inactive active list, but they still have plenty of time to release that. So we probably won't know until we get closer to the game time if he's going to be playing.
Yeah, with it being a 4:00 start, I don't see it yet. If it would have been a 1:00 start, I'm sure it would have all been posted by now. That's why I wanted to do this around this time.
But I think they could I would dress him, because he can, not play inside linebacker, but he goes down to the box a lot. So if there is something wrong with Patrick Queen's groin, we have Terrell Edmonds there. He can kind of fill in a role as like a nickel safety, nickel backer in that situation to help out there. So I would dress him just in that case. And, this team needs special teams help. He can play special teams. So I think they're going to find a way to get him out there.
Mike or Bryan, do any of you guys see Corey Trice's workload be upped this week?
I think a little bit more each week.
Yeah.
Not maybe 5 more snaps, 5 more snaps.
Because I'm really excited about that. I want to see, because if they compare the style and the size and everything about him kind of to Joey Porter Jr., I at least want to get a look at the guy.
Right. Porter didn't start to about week 8. Polamalu, even back in the day, didn't even really start and get much playing time. So I think they're going to ease him into it. This team threw 40 times last week. I would assume they're going to throw over 40 times this week. So he will get some workload in those types of games. But, I think they're going to do baby steps with somebody like him, especially with his injury history.
Yeah. And, he has the talent, he has the ability, but again, it's the availability with the injuries. Because if he can stay healthy, they're going to have 3 really good, tall, physical corners. And then, I'm interested in Beanie Bishop this week. How is he going to do
Bishop?
Yeah, in the nickel situation. So how is he going to do this week? And if they threw, like you said, they threw the ball 40 times last week. So we're going to get a healthy dose, I think, of Corey Trice and Beanie Bishop this week.
I'm more interested to see the 2 guys that we brought in that were both that made big plays last week. Just, of course, Deshaun Elliott at the other safety, and Dante Jackson. Guys, I was delightfully surprised about the play of these 2 guys. I didn't doubt that they were good. I didn't doubt that they were going to make plays. However, when it's going down and Deshaun's making an interception at a key point of the game, and at another point of the game, Jackson makes a come on. I mean, these guys are a lot of fun. If they can continue to play that way, if Joey Porter keeps his play up, and as you were saying, if now Minkah could do his thing at safety, this secondary could be a lot of fun. And today would be a good practice game, because again, this isn't a really, really good Denver Broncos team. Bo Nix is going to throw the ball around. So, I think our secondary could kind of take today and really focus on the different things they need to focus on, because when we come home next week, say what you will about the Chargers, it is Justin Herbert coming to town. And I think that's going to present more of a challenge than we're going to see today. So I'm curious to see how this secondary plays today against Denver.
Not only the covering of the secondary, this is a big thing I think we're going to see today, is how they tackle in space.
Yeah.
Because I think Nix is going to get the ball out quick to the receivers in space, and are they going to be able to make the tackle and also swarm to the ball so that's not just one-on-one tackling, that it's a group tackling?
Yeah,
I like that the
you
way
got to
they're
tackle
flying
in the
around.
NFL. At the end of the day, I mean, come on, it's the game. It's almost like can you be a basketball player and not be able to shoot? Tackling is something that you got to be able to do. And you know what? If it's something that the Steelers should just be doing in general, guys, tackling better.
The biggest key to today, I think, is the Steelers staying healthy. You don't want to see anybody key go down today early, especially, TJ Watt, as much as I give him hell, he had a heck of a game last week. Does he repeat that performance this week?
Well, he better. That's what we're expecting now. He
Yeah.
can't do that last week and not do it again. Come on.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's coming in this year refocused to be like the complete player he was when he won Defensive Player of the Year. Because like ever since he won that award, it's just all been about pass rush, running himself out of so many run plays.
And I know Bryan and Mike, that's a big thing because last year, a topic that all three of us spoke about on the air was the guy doesn't play the run. He just doesn't play it. It's not that he's not playing it well. It's not that he's out of position. He just takes himself out of position to prepare to try to get a sack. So he did make that adjustment this offseason. I like to see it, but I think this is the guy that you want to see more now. I mean, yeah, the other guy was getting 19 sacks, but you also have to stop the run as well. You're kind of a big part of the defense.
Yeah, and those key runs stuffs that he had, they were huge. A couple of them lost yardage. He had tackles in the backfield, nice stuffs at the line. So he needs to play like that this week, and we need him to not just try and rush the quarterback. Yeah, he's a rookie back there.
Does anybody know what the right tackle looks like in Denver? Does anybody know?
I can't. I'll get it up here in a second. But no, like he needs to play under control today because he starts playing out of control. You can create broken plays, and this team is so bad in the Broncos. But you break down in assignments, they get plays, they get confidence, and that can be a snowball effect. We saw this last year in Cleveland with their rookie quarterback. We were holding our own, and then they just kept a play here, a play there were breakdowns on the defense, and that let them win the game. So they can't have a repeat performance like that.
Yeah, I'm pulling up Mike McGlinchey or whatever his name is. The right pick.
Yeah, former first-round pick. Should be a good battle, but I think Watt should win that.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I don't know. It's tough to like look up stats on a guy because it's like I don't know. You got to look at the advanced analytics, and then I think half the time that's a bunch of lies. I mean, you guys always make fun of the what's it called? Did you make fun of the
PFF? Yeah. Because you're supposed to. You don't know everyone's assignment on that play, and you're supposed to grade them. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, when it helps your argument, it's great. When it doesn't, it's
just the worst thing ever. Yeah.
All right. So the Steelers did a lot of things well last week. Actually getting to the red zone was a big problem.
Yeah.
I believe they only got to the red zone once, and when they did, they ran it on 4th and 1 and didn't even get a yard. What do they need to improve today to get a touchdown or two in the red zone?
I think it's gonna come a little bit more naturally today, guys. I got to tell you again, this Denver team. Let's just say it's not George Pickens that's able to make big chunk plays like he did last week. I think we're gonna be able to run the ball better today. I think you're gonna see more production there. I think you're gonna see again more plays to Pat Freiermuth, more plays to Van Jefferson. I think by default we end up in the red zone a little bit more than we were last week, and I think that we're able to punch a couple of them in today.
I think it's going to come down to execution. Just that 4th down play on that 4th and 1 run, like they rushed the whole thing. No one was really set. They didn't fire off their blocks. And the other times they got down there, plays broke down due to poor execution. Like that screen pass wasn't in the red zone, but that screen pass to Van Jefferson, that should have been a hit right in there. It's just poor execution and a little bit better play selection down in the red zone. Those two go hand in hand. It's just the execution of the play and just a little bit better play selection when you get into the red zone.
All right. Does Chris Boswell kick 35 field goals today?
At least.
At least that's the bar.
I don't think he kicks as many as he did last week. Again, I do believe that we will punch something into the end zone. And if we don't, listen, guys, if we don't punch anything into the end zone, we're kind of now we have a problem again. We're going, 2 of the 17 games we're not able to get the ball in the end zone. I don't think that happens today. I think whether it happens by way of just run the ball between the tackles, hitting some of these other wide receivers, or maybe on defense. I definitely think that there's more points that'll be scored today. And again, I again, for what it is for the Steelers, I think that they do it in kind of a convincing fashion.
All right, so we all agree that Najee Harris is probably going to get a steady dose of the ball today. I would assume he's going to run hard. I like when he runs hard and just blows up the defensive backs and linebackers. What do you think about Jaylen Warren today? Will he be a part of the offense, or are they still kind of slowly working him back?
I look for him to be on obvious pass downs for the most part. I think they want to work Cordella Patterson in there a little bit more than Jalen.
He's too tall to be a running back.
Yeah, I don't mind him in there on certain downs and situations, but no, I want to see more of Jaylen Warren. And if that hammy is finally close to 100% that it's going to be, you got to feed him the ball. We saw what happened last year when those two had a good rotation in. You kept both fresh, and you're be able to generate splash plays from both of them. So give me more Jaylen Warren is what I'm saying.
I hope we see more Jalen. I'm still not 100% sure what the deal was. I mean, is it because of a nagging injury? Is it I hope to see more Jaylen Warren. I mean, that was kind of the plan, right? We wanted two backs to be able to use them and utilize them in their own way. And I hope we see more Jaylen Warren.
Well, they have Patterson listed as 6'2". I think he looks like he's 6'5" out there.
Right.
Yeah, he's a tall.
Remember, now this is kind of going outside the box, but do you remember that show Ed, Ed, and Eddie? It was a cartoon when the tall Ed would run and his head was always banging off the ground because he was so tall. That's what I picture when you say that, Bryan.
I'll have to check out Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
All right, number 11 in your programs, number 1 in my heart. Does Van Jefferson get more than 2 catches today?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going at least 3 to 4 catches for Van Jefferson. At least one of them will be a nice big chunk.
I was going to say, Mike, does it get over 10 yards? Does those 4 catches get you over 10 yards?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to do like 4 catches, probably like 35.
Because 1 for 1 was pretty unimpressive last week, right?
Yeah.
I literally, that one, I mean, that's Pickens.
It's not on him. The blocks are there. That's a walk-in touchdown.
Right. I mean, yeah, he could have walked in, done the Deion Sanders little slide into the that was bad. All right. Anybody else?
What's your impression? Your impression of Deion, is that what was bad?
You didn't see the whole thing. You could only see the upper body. The bottom was perfect.
You're white. Okay. I know what your feet look like when you dance. Come on. All right. Go.
Anyone else stepping up outside of Vance? Was that the question?
Yeah. Anybody? Okay. Does a player like, I don't know, Mount Washington step it up? Austin the third step it up? Anybody like that? An unexpected person on offense?
No, I don't see it. I think if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Van Jefferson. I don't consider him youth. If he goes off and has a good day, him stepping up, that's just what should be expected of him at this point. But outside of, like I said, the 3 to 4 catches to Van Jefferson, I don't see anyone else stepping up outside of like our main contributors.
Justin Fields has to make that decision, guys. Again, we go into last week, and George Pickens was not the only person playing the wide receiver position. However, you know what? When you have a guy that could catch anything, you toss the ball up there in the middle, out down the field, the guy comes down with it. That's hard not to go to that guy. But Justin Fields has to decide that he wants to look around at other receivers to even out the game. It's, is it going to be more beneficial to get the ball to Van Jefferson? Is he going to make the big plays that George Pickens is going to make? No, he's not. But at some point, you have to do that too. Try to spread the defense, spread the secondary out a little bit, and the job will become a little bit easier for him. But he has to ultimately make that decision. Go to Van Jefferson a few more times. Go to Mount Washington a few more times. Pat Freiermuth, whatever, and that's going to open up the game more for him.
Ryan, how much more time do we have here? Like 20 minutes?
We have 17 minutes.
All right. Yeah, because I want to get into, I guess, you said 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Can we jump away from the Steelers for a hot minute here?
Yeah. Of course. It's your show.
All right. I don't really care about around the league because I don't care what the Cowboys are doing. You know, I don't care what the Giants are doing.
Can I make in your segue that I hear you doing? Can I jump in just real quick because I have something kind of juicy here.
It sounds like you're doing it whether I say yes or no.
That's right. Listen, no, the guys around the league. Let's talk about a team in our division. A couple teams are playing better teams, which the Browns and the Bengals are playing better competition.
That was where I was going. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, so my thing is this, Brian. The Ravens are the team that's playing. They're playing down. They're playing the Raiders, right? But keep this in mind. Mike and I was talking off the air. The one guy 2 seasons ago that was able to stop Lamar Jackson when he needed to be stopped, and a guy that was able to stop Derrick Henry when he was with Tennessee, and we needed to stop him. Who was the guy that put his head down, put his shoulder into the play, and stopped both of those big names and important plays during the game? Robert Spillane. Now, he is now the leading tackler for the hated Raiders. But keep in mind, guys, he was the guy that did stop very big plays by Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the Steeler games. And one of those was even a fumble, I think, right inside the 5-yard line by Lamar. So, again, Brian, maybe we could get a little help from an old friend in Robert Spillane in that Ravens-Raiders game.
Well, he doesn't have to drop into coverage versus the Ravens. You know, he just has to worry about keeping Lamar in the pocket and making the big hits, right?
Absolutely. And I like him for that, right?
You know what? I like him because Team White now has a middle linebacker. Look out, Mendenhall. We're slowly putting together an average defense.
I'd start him on my all team. So the Raiders, like you said, are at the Ravens at 1 p.m. I don't even see this being a close game, though. I think the Raiders are not as good as the Ravens. And I think the Ravens, you know, they played the best team in the NFL and could have tied them by an inch or won the game if they would have got 2. So I like the Ravens at home versus the Raiders. I don't think it's going to be even close.
No, I look for Isaiah Likely. Look for him to just continue to have a breakout season. This kid is a scary good tight end. And they got him and Mark Andrews.
His toes in bounds. He'll be all right, right?
Right? You know, he should have had them Deion Sanders toes.
Brian, how did them Deion Sanders toes go again?
Yeah, and like Steeler Fix says, Crosby's he's a game wrecker. That dude should have been the defensive player of the year last year.
Absolutely. His tackles were more than all those other guys that were even in the running.
All I know is there might be a TJ Watt quote about that on my video I have coming out Wednesday on TJ Watt, whether he's defensive player of the year or if he's completely overrated. That will be the question in the video that'll drop Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. on One Man's Opinion on YouTube, everybody. Before I get into the debacle, I want to talk about the Bengals at the Chiefs before we get into the real fun. I mean, Joe Burrow, he looked like he was not an NFL starter last week. Does he bounce back this week and go toe-to-toe with Mahomes, or does Mahomes and the Chiefs just swift them away?
I think they will swift them away.
I think they get swifted away. Whether you see better performance by Burrow or not, I just think that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be too good for them, and ultimately they will win this game.
Like Mahomes or Joe Burrow is still living on beating Mahomes in the playoffs and losing a Super Bowl. This kid might actually be overrated.
And also, Brian,
I hope I'm not right.
There's Joe Cool overrated.
Yeah,
maybe.
Speaking of Joes in Cincinnati, they also send their running back to Texas. Houston, of course, Joe Mixon had a top performance last week by Joe Mixon. They no longer have him. Of course, number 3 wide receiver Tyler Boyd gone. It's not the same team. They may get better as the season goes on, but I still see, especially against teams like Kansas City, to have some more bumps in their road.
Does their offensive line still stink too?
Oh, their offensive line's still bad for the Bengals. Yeah, it's not good. They try and upgrade it every year and they just can't.
Yeah.
All right. Now
and T Higgins might be out again.
Big.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about our favorite football team, even more favorite than the Steelers, only because they're so pathetic and bad. The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
isn't it fun to watch them every year?
Oh, it is great to watch them play because, my God, if they would have, stayed patient with Baker Mayfield, they might be in the running for one of the best teams in the AFC.
Well, we're lucky they're stupid. Who is it? Who do they play?
Jacksonville.
They're at Jacksonville.
Yeah, that should be a good game, guys.
It's the 1 o'clock game. I assume that's what we're going to get here locally.
I
All
believe it
right.
should
I like
be.
Trevor Lawrence. I think that he could beat them. It just comes down to, I mean, because Cleveland's defense is really good. What kind of quarterback player are you going to get if you're the Browns today? I think that's the difference.
Yeah, that's going to be huge right there. Joe
Didn't the
Flacco's
Browns
all
have a
coming
good
in.
defense last season and they got crushed in the playoffs, kind of like we do? They gave up like a million points.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they were number one in yardage, but their scoring defense was not that. It was good, but it wasn't the top in the league. So yeah, they gave up a lot of points, and it was fun watching CJ Stroud just pick them apart.
All right. So we got around 10 minutes left or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Let's get back into the 425 game, I guess. I have here the Steelers are a 2.5-point favorites. I don't see how it's even remotely that close. I don't see the Broncos scoring. I'm predicting 10 points, maybe 13 at most. I can't see the Broncos scoring more than 13 outside of some crazy special teams stuff.
Well, because I agree with you, because you look at the team that we just faced last week. Is Bo Nix going to be better than what Kirk Cousins was? Or the Denver Broncos offense, is it going to be as good as Atlanta's offense? So I agree. I don't think that if they score 10, it's not going to be many more than 10, 13 points maybe.
I don't know. I'm a little more pessimistic about this game. We're traveling out west, which we really don't do well with, playing up in Mile High. Yeah, expectations are high, and this Steeler team's better than the Broncos, but how much better?
I
The
think with our
offense still
defense,
struggling to score
we're a lot
points.
better with our defense. I do.
Yeah, but their defense isn't great, but they got
spotty.
players
They got
here
a
and
couple good
there.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm a little worried about this. I think we win, but I don't think it'd be as convincing as you're hoping for.
So my buddy Dan, I was talking to this morning, he says, and I quote, "I feel bad you have to watch this game," meaning there's not going to be a lot of offense.
It's going to be Steelers Broncos.
I said, well, not only do I have to watch it today, I have to watch it 2 more times before Wednesday, and then I get to watch the Steelers all season. It's great, but it's tough to watch them, isn't it?
Especially on the offensive side of the ball. But if Fields can start, making plays with his legs, taking shots downfield, if they end up losing, I don't care, as long as it's entertaining at this point. Give us something to talk about. But yeah, it is kind of rough watching this offense try to compete for the last 4 years.
I don't think the offense looks any better or any worse than the Cordell Stewart days, guys. If you live pre-Ben, you're pretty much seeing what you know from back then. You have a top defense, which the Steelers generally do, and you have a quarterback who's mobile that you're not quite sure how he's going to perform week to week. I think that this team is very similar to the late 90s. I just hope that Justin Fields goes out and makes the plays.
Yeah, that's all we can root for and hope for, but I don't know. I'm
optimistic,
but not that optimistic.
I know we're going to be around in third here shortly, guys, so I just want to throw this in there. I feel that this game is important because these are the games that we have to take advantage as the Steelers. Right. Mm-hmm. You have to win early. Yeah. You have to win as many as you can, because once you pass week 9 and the Washington Commanders game is over, it becomes a what's the word I'm looking for? Guys, help me out here.
No help. Very You're on your own. Let's make them suffer, Mike.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. I hopped over to Twitter for a second.
Okay, you're good. But listen, we do have to. I mean, this is a games that we need to win.
Yeah, gotta stack.
Because once you hit the gauntlet is where I was trying to find there. Once you hit the gauntlet of the last 8 games of the season, it isn't going to be like let's win a bunch of games in a row. I think that you have to win early. You have to win often. You have to win against this team, the Denvers, the Atlantas, the Indianapolises, the Chargers. These are the games that you have to stack your wins, because it's going to be the wins are going to be a lot tougher as the season goes on. So if you want to find a playoff spot, I think these games here are the most important right now.
Not only do you have to win today, you have to be in control of the game. You have to win convincingly. And most importantly, get out of there completely healthy.
Yes. And thank you, John. Yes, gauntlet was the word. I appreciate that, sir.
Gauntlet.
I was reaching for it. It just wasn't there.
The over-under is 36. AI has predicted the Steelers 22 and the Broncos 14. Does anybody have any, predictions on the board first off? And while you guys are getting your predictions out on the board, I have a question for you. They're playing at the Empower Field at Mile High. What is Empower?
I don't know, but Brian, I do know.
Company?
I do know that the field in Jacksonville is named after Trevor Lawrence today. It's called Everbank Field, and today for the game, there's a contract in place to officially call that stadium Trevor Bank Field. So,
Trevor Bank Field. Is he is he doing commercials for them?
I don't know. I just know that there was something between the company and the player and his agent that they will be calling it Trevor Bank Field today.
If he is, are they as good as the Levin furniture commercials from last year with Kenny Pickett and Amy? Was it Amy Pickett?
They better be.
God, yeah, those were atrocious.
What about the Heinz Ward C. Harper video commercials? There's some bad ones.
Yeah,
I love local commercials with the athletes. They're the best.
One of my favorite Steelers commercial after we won that first Super Bowl back in 2005. The first Super Bowl back was the one with Max Starks and Jeff Reed where they were playing paper football. You guys remember that? It was a McDonald's commercial.
Oh, I love both those guys.
And Max Starks was on one side and Jeff Reed was playing. They were kicking. Yeah. I don't know. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. But that was a pretty cool.
Why can't we have cut that meat type of commercials or discount double check? Those are good commercials. We got the get down to C. Harper and get yourself a pickup. All right. Well, why don't we make some predictions here? I guess since we are a few steps away from home plate.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, why don't you go first and give us what your thoughts, not only score-wise, but how the game's going to go, tempo, first half, second half, third quarter, whatnot.
I had the Steelers, I think, earlier in the week. I said 24-17, 21-14, somewhere in that range. I think it's going to start off slow on offense. Both offenses are going to go slow. But I think eventually our run game takes over. We open up the pass game, and then the defense that's, takes over. And I think Fields will have a turnover that leads to a score by the Broncos, but it settles down and just roll on our merry way 24-17.
Now let me tell you what's going to really happen. The Steelers, they're going to win. They're going to win 27-13. That was my pick, 27-13. And what's going to happen is they're going to look deceiving. It's going to be a bit deceiving today, I think, because the Broncos are a very bad team. I think the Steelers are going to make certain things look easier than they are really for the Steelers at this point in the season, to where they come out next week against the Chargers and maybe those same things won't work. But again, I think today is going to be a deceiving kind of win as far as the score goes, 27-13.
All right. Well, I have the Steelers maybe getting behind 3-0, 7-0 to start the game. And then I believe after that, they're going to take control of the game. You're going to see Najee Harris play lights out today. He's going to be running the ball all over that Denver defense. And I like the Steelers to score over 20. I know it's not going to happen very often this year, but I like them today to score over 20. And I like the under. The over-under is 36. I like the Steelers scoring 24. And I think the Broncos maybe only 10.
All right. Yeah, I have them over the over-under. Mike, what was your total?
I like 24-17. 24-14 in that range.
All right. Yeah, I do. I have over on that. If it's 36 for today, I got 40.
I remember when bookies were scum. Now the podcast media are gambling pimps. Hell yeah.
If you guys are gamblers, if you guys play fantasy out there on the board, listening here, my buddy Dan, he is probably the smartest football guy I know. You can catch him on X, formerly known as Twitter, at NFL DFS Picks. That's NFL DFS Picks. He sent me over a bunch of stuff. We're going to have him on the show moving forward once I figure out how to do the live. I got a question for you, Mike, here. I'm going to put you on the spot here in a second. But yeah, go over to X and check out NFL DFS Picks. You'll get all your betting, prop bets, player bets, parlays, whatever you want. He does an excellent job. He watches every
NFL game.
It's amazing. Game. His girlfriend has to hate him.
Yeah. I love him. I love him for this.
Oh, right. So we're going to have him on. We're going to have on Scap Attack eventually, the YouTuber. Maybe we'll have Derpy on. But Mike, what are you doing Monday from 4 to 6 p.m.? Or, I'm sorry, Wednesday.
I do not know off the top of my head. I don't know if I have a babysitter or not.
Okay. Well, you figure that out. Bryan might need a bodyguard at the radio station. So you have the invite for Wednesday.
All right.
That's Wednesday, not Monday.
Yeah, I don't know where I was at there. Who knows? I got a lot to do Monday, and it doesn't involve being at the radio station.
Yeah, I'll either be there or picking my kid up off the bus. One of the two.
1 minute, bro.
1 minute. 1 minute. Did we get any predictions on the board?
No, they ghosted you. They said, F this guy.
That's fine.
I mean, there's comments, just no pretending.
My guess is they're probably over on YouTube subscribing to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
That's right.
They
it has LeBron James, One Man's Opinion, LeBron James with his arms out. Please go on there. You guys don't understand how much it helps to subscribe, watch the video, and like it, because the only way it goes to other people is if you guys do that for me, because basically the way it works is YouTube, they use your subscribers as your test subjects. And if your subscribers all watch your video, then it goes to people that aren't your subscribers. If your subscribers don't watch your video, it kind of just doesn't go anywhere. So
it's not just Brian's crazy huge ego. It's really for a purpose, and it would certainly help him out. Guys, do go check his videos out. I really dig them today. The new video was about the Moneyball, and he has, what do you have so far? A couple videos.
Okay, so I just basically have an intro that kind of gives like an overview of what I'm doing for my first 5 videos, and then I had a video today that I just put out at 10. It's on Moneyball and how analytics have affected not only baseball over the last 20 some years, but basketball and the NFL. And then Wednesday, I'm having a video come out at 10 a.m. on TJ Watt. So that's a good one. And the WNBA playoffs will be starting, I believe, on the 22nd. I think that's Sunday. So I will have a Caitlin Clark video coming out Sunday at 10 a.m. as well for the WNBA playoffs. They have 2 games left, I believe. They play today at 3, I think.
I look forward to that. Real quick, John does say Mike's free time is taken up surfing goth chick dating sites, Mike.
Well, this is a well-known secret. Everyone knows this.
Goth chick. I mean, some of them are cute. I mean,
yeah.
They all can't be Kim Kardashian, who he's just grossed out by.
Yeah.
I prefer the Haitian chicks because they eat the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I don't know if we have time for any of that.
Jesus Christ.
And I think that's a good place to end the show. Listen, we thank everybody for joining us today.
Yes.
You guys all know the drill. Check out 2 Dum Yinzers every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to noon.
Ish.
Yes, ish. I go on and I usually text Ryan like, hey, what time we starting here? And he's like, starting what?
All right, this isn't about us. Check out One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan and Pasquale every Sunday morning. Steeler pregame shows 11 to 12 every Sunday morning and every Wednesday on the radio. Check out Brian's One Man Opinion on Sports. Back to you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody on the board. We appreciate you. I appreciate Mike and I appreciate Ryan. Next week, what I'd like to do is hopefully Mike can get me linked up so I can go live on my channel. What I think we'll do is you guys can go live on your channel too. But we'll figure that out at least for the first few weeks, and then we'll see how that goes and go from there.
And on one more thing I do want to say, I do give John, I do want to say thanks to him because he says, thanks guys, the 2 Dum Yinzers and 1 smart guy. That seems to be a thing. So that's it for me, guys.
All right. Go Steelers.
Go Steelers. Absolutely. Big game today. Let's get this win, and we'll be back at 2 Dum Yinzers will be back tomorrow morning. But again, do check out all Brian's work. It's great stuff he's putting out there. Go over to check out One Man's Opinion on Sports, and you can see his videos, all of his shows, and everything like that. Guys, do go check him out. Great stuff.
All right. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good one. Take care.
Have a great day. Go Steelers.